People need time to be themselves outside of all the different roles that they play within their lives, guys. We are wearing so many hats: mother, sister, daughter, sister, friend, deacon at church, boss lady, a confidant.
That's a lot.
It's kuningi. As an employer, if you are seeing somebody who you think is maybe slacking because they are no longer, at the office at 7, leaving at 8 o'clock, and now they're just literally coming in on time and leaving at, just let them be. Just let them be. And there's a lot of things that we deal with as individuals, as people who come into the workplace. People always fight me on this, and fight me in the comments, it's okay. But I always say, people bring their entire selves into the workplace.
They do.
They really do. Gone are the days where Bas John expected me to leave my issues at the door. I come in with my issues. And especially for employers. Guys, money is okay, in Uncle Cyril's current economy, money is important. I won't lie.
It is very important.
But it's not the end all the be all. And that's what advice I would give the employers as well. I always say, if somebody is stepping back to look after themselves as an employee, you as an employer is going to benefit from that.
Of course.
Because that person is finding fulfillment outside of work that is going to fuel them as an individual, and they're going to bring that back into the workplace, and you are going to benefit from that. So
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi guys, welcome to Couch Talk with LHS. I'm your host, Boss Lady. I'm sitting here with Zanele, and today we have an amazing, funny guest. She is funny, she's gonna try it. Really? Alright, so we have an amazing person joining us in studio today. So her name is KULANI SHILUVANI. How are you, madam?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. So before we start, I like telling people more about you. So we've got your bio. You can elaborate further and tell us a little bit more about yourself. But you are the founder and chief solutionist at Shiluva. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
You are.
Like the word chief solutionist, because that's what we do.
Yeah, we find solutions to issues that people have within organizations. And for me, it's very important that people understand that from the onset.
Absolutely. So KULANI is an accomplished business operation professional with a postgraduate qualification in management and labor law from the University of Witwatersrand and the University of Johannesburg respectively. She is skilled in operations, human resources and labor law. She served as a chief operations officer in a medium-sized organization in Johannesburg for 4 years, and in 2017 that's when you established Shiluva. KULANI has a keen interest and experience in human resources, conflict resolution, problem solving, organizational relations, and mental health in the workplace. She is accredited as a mediator by Conflict Dynamics in 2018. Her mediation interest area are commercial disputes, workplace disputes, management, and labor-related matters. I hear labor-related matters, I are. Red flag.
That's actually my favorite area.
I see that.
It really is. All that HR admin stuff, guys, miss me. Miss me on that stuff.
So we can actually collaborate, because I like not necessarily the HR admin side, but like recruitment and things like that. But no, obviously it does have admin. Yeah. But the IR part.
My fave. Guys, I always say, an excuse to all the Caucasian listenings, ke rata ditaba. Loosely translated, I like other people's business. And in industrial relations, guys, that's where you find it.
Exactly. And that's where you get, to the bottom of things. Of course. You dig deep. I just don't like people lying to me. That's my problem. I don't want to listen there. I mean, sit there and listen to your stories. No,
for me, lie to me because I I think the nice thing about what we do, right, is that you work with human beings so often that you can actually tell when somebody's lying to you. So that's my fave. I just sit there and I'm like, oh, okay,
Continue.
We'll see how this ends, but okay. But I think for me, at the end of the day, the most important part is actually finding the solution, right? And also for me, I'm also very much about a solution that works for both parties. I like to get to a point, and that doesn't mean that solution means everybody's going to leave the table and everybody's going to be kumbaya, the relationship is. Sometimes the best solution is separation.
Of course.
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
It
Honestly.
really is okay because not everything is forever, guys. I say forever, yeah, not always.
Life does not work like that, especially in corporate or in business. It's not always that. I
Not
agree with you.
always. Not
So now,
always.
if there's certainly on that part, right, with finding solutions, there's now a buzzword. Quiet quitting. What is that? Why are we quiet quitting?
Because we want our lives back, guys. We want our lives back. That's why we're quiet quitting. So essentially what quiet quitting is when somebody comes into the workplace and they do exactly what they're meant to do within the hours that they are meant to work. So let's say you come and we work and you are hired as, I like to pick on accountants because they're my favorite people. Love you guys. So let's say Jim, the accountant, has been hired in ABC Accounting as a junior account manager, and he is set to work between the hours of 9 and 5. That's what Jimmy does. He comes into the office, he works between the hours of 9 and 5, he meets his obligations, he meets his targets, but that's it. Jim is never going to be that person when he's quiet quitting, is not going to be the person who's going to be like, oh no, I'm going to give my employer another extra hour, you know, because also what quiet quitting is, and I like the way to explain it, is that it's the opposite of the hustle culture that most of us are operating in. This always on, always going, need to meet the next thing. Quiet quitting is realizing that I actually need to build boundaries between the work that I do and other aspects of my life, because gone are the days where we live to work. We want to be able to work but also have a life outside of that. So that's what essentially quiet quitting is the people who come into the workplace, work the hours that they're supposed to work, meet the obligations that they're supposed to meet to their employer, and hire time, and that's that.
Oh, 5 o'clock, there you are. So where are you going?
Yeah.
But then can I just find out, then how do we strike a balance? Because you mentioned a very important thing, that Jim meets his target, right? Between the hours that he's obviously whatever. This is what I need to do within my the time that I'm given. So what happens then in a case whereby you have an employee who is Jim's colleague, but completely different. What's about 8 to 5? But they're not meeting targets, and then we just like a work-life balance.
No, that's not quiet quitting. That's just an incompetent employee. Excuse, like that's, we need to be able to differentiate between the two, right? A quiet quitter is somebody who's building boundaries around their work, and trying to get out of this always on hustle culture of work. You know, it's also just a switch from this way 5 a.m. club. Guys, no. Quiet quitting is the person who does their job. They meet their obligations. They meet their targets. Jim's colleague is not a quiet quitter. Jim's colleague is just riding the boat. Yes, and if I was the HR consultant, I would probably start incapacity. But anyway, that's a story for another day.
I agree with that 100%. So now, where does the quiet quitting phenomenon or thing coming from? Is it just after the COVID situation where people realize, you know what, we work lesser, or some people can work harder at home? So where does it come from? Why now?
It is something that came up during the panorama, also known as the pandemic. But I think for me, it started essentially when what we like to call AMA 2000 came into the workplace, right? My favorite people in the entire world that are disrupting the workplace. Because they are the kind of people who come into the workplace, they want to be impactful, they want to feel like the work that they're doing not only fulfills their own career objectives, but also meets the obligations of the organization, and hopefully the organization also has a goal that has like greater goals that meets, you know, other goals, you know. And And they are very much work-life balance, right? It's like, I'm here, you pay me for my 9 to 5, I'm doing the work, please don't come in between me and my tequila at 6 o'clock. So that's where the phenomenon came from, and I also think it gained a lot of popularity post-COVID because a lot of us were working really hard.
Really hard.
We were really, like, people were sitting at, I had clients who, his employees were putting in even more hours.
Of course.
Because literally, I get at your desk, if you're fortunate enough, your bed is in one room, and then your desk is in another room, or maybe get the dining room, depending on your living situation, or even if it's your bed, right? But it's like, oh, I can take another email. I can just quickly finalize that report. Whereas as much as, you know, we were going into the office and leaving, that coming and going was a separation that we did not have during the panorama. And after that, a lot of people realized that actually, we strive for this work-life balance, right? And you know what work-life balance means is different for me, it's different for you, it's different for you. So, but it was getting to a point where people are like, my work is consuming me. And a lot of people just took a step back and said, hey, they pay me to be at work from 9 to 5. I'm going to work the hours of 9 to 5. And unless, as I always say, guys, unless it's an emergency and somebody's going to die and I can do something to prevent their death, then it's really not an emergency, right? I always say, you know, depending on what the timelines look like for a project or a deadline, if the person delivers good quality work on time,
then it's a different story.
why are we asking them to put in extra hours? Is somebody dying? And is them working that extra hour going to stop them from dying?
No, absolutely. But that's what I'm saying, that we need to, because I mean, we're sharing this knowledge with, you know, our viewers.
Yeah.
And people need to get the correct information.
Yeah.
That we're not saying 9 to 5, even if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes,
right?
no.
You still need to be delivering quality work. Don't just give
exceptional work.
Exactly.
No, quiet quitting, and I think this is where quiet quitting gets a bad rap, right? Because people think that it's Jim's colleague and not Jim.
Exactly.
Quiet quitting is when you are still meeting your obligations. You're delivering good work. You're delivering it on time, and you are still meeting you're meeting your targets. So if you're sitting in a performance review, they really can't. I mean, as much as there's always room for improvement, you know, as HR consultants, there's always that disclaimer. But Jim is doing what he needs to do, and he's just taking time out for himself as well, and that's okay.
Yeah. So how would then the employers deal? How should they deal, or what sort of advice would you give them? Because there's still employers that are expecting that additional 1 hour just because.
Because why?
Just because.
Because why?
Because they don't have
Are you
anything.
going to give Jim that?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Overtime, but sometimes this is what I always say. You know, and especially for employers, guys, money is okay. In Uncle Cyril's current economy, money is important. I won't lie.
That is very important.
But it's not the end all, the be all. And that's what advice I would give the employers as well. I always say, if somebody is stepping back to look after themselves as an employee, you as an employer is going to benefit from that.
Of course.
Because that person is finding fulfillment outside of work that is going to fuel them as an individual, and they're going to bring that back into the workplace, and you are going to benefit from that. So as an employer, if you are seeing somebody who you think is maybe slacking because they are no longer, you know, at the office at 7, leaving at 8 o'clock, and now they're just literally coming in on time and leaving at, just let them be. Just let them be. And you know, there's a lot of things that we deal with as individuals, as people who come into the workplace. People always fight me on this, and fight me in the clinic. But I always say, people bring their entire selves into the workplace.
They do.
They really do. Gone are the days where Bas John expected me to leave my issues at the door. I mean, I come in with my issues, right? So if my mother is unwell, and I come into the workplace, I'm going to carry that unwellness and that worry and that anxiety with me.
We know that because they communicate with us. They share their stories with us.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And we need to be empathetic to that. And we need to understand that maybe Kulani might not be able to perform her best on that particular day, but you know what? is the whole organization going to think if Kulani is not okay for one day? Because if it is, then you've got bigger problems.
No, but then things are changing now because we're talking about mental health
Oh,
issues.
yes.
So which is very important. It's one of the topics that we had
nice.
previously. You know, we're talking about mental health issues, and knowing that July is mental health month.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be cognizant of the fact that people are going through a lot of things.
Yeah.
People are going through a lot of things.
People are going through a lot of things that they're not even
aware of. Yeah.
And you might also find an employee that arrives at work 5 o'clock, leaves at work 7 o'clock, but it doesn't necessarily mean
They're being effective, yes.
There's TikToking, tweeting, using your office resources as well, right?
True.
And that's why for me, everybody was like, oh, we're so worried about this quiet quitting thing. We are starting to see bits and pieces of it in our employees. I'm like, are they still delivering? Yes, they're delivering. So what's your problem?
So now they're doing what they hired to do.
Guys, we love what we do, ne? But I still have a life outside of work, and I want to be able to enjoy that, right? And work should not be my entire world. It should be a part of my world that coexists with other aspects of my world as well. And like I said, because people bring their entire selves into the workplace, you want them to go outside of the workplace to fuel the things that cannot be fueled into the workplace, so they can bring that energy into the workplace as well. And it's like, I always liken it to this. When you start a wellness journey, right, and you start seeing progress, what happens? You get motivated, right? So if people are engaging in their work in a way that allows them to see progress outside of their work lives, they'll bring that progress into the workplace.
We've been emphasizing the issue of work-life balance for quite some time, even prior to COVID-19.
Yeah.
I think they've now found that work-life balance for them to say, this is where I end, this is where I start, and that's where I take care of myself now.
And that's okay. And you know what? Even within quiet quitting, guys, there's also this work-life balance. Because I always say, a work-life balance doesn't mean that you're juggling all your balls equally at the same time. It means that you are taking care of everything as much as possible, and you're giving it the energy that it needs at that current moment in time. So sometimes, even within your quiet quitting, work will take priority because there is a project that you're working on and that needs to be delivered on. And that's it. But you're still able to disengage from it, come back into it, disengage from it, come back to it as well.
Yeah.
It's like a marriage, guys. Sometimes you need
a break.
weekend away from your person.
You need a break. So what we're saying then is that people are now using their time effectively.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just to be more efficient.
Of course.
In the workplace, because if they're still delivering, what more do we want then as employers?
Exactly. And also, if they're delivering and you see that somebody is delivering consistently on time, it means they might even have a little bit more capacity to take in a little bit more
work. Yeah. Okay. So what advice then would you give to employers? Because I mean, most of the employers are not familiar with the term quiet quitting. They sometimes, like you said, they sometimes ask you that they see a particular norm or things that are happening now within the organization. So what advice would you give the employers?
Quiet quitting is not a bad thing. In fact, I think quiet quitting is beneficial for both the employee and the employer as well. So if you see somebody who is now taking back control in terms of their work-life balance in the form of quiet quitting, I would just honestly let them be. I would let them be, but I would also check in with the employee to make sure that everything outside of work is okay, within reason, because some of it is none of your business also. But within reason, just to check in that the other person is okay, right? And also realizing that the workplace is continuously evolving. What took place even a year ago, not let's forget the spicy flu with COVID, even a year ago, you guys would know this, the workplace is continuously evolving, and quiet quitting is just part of that evolution. And if you handle it appropriately, if you see it as a strength coming from your employees, it's going to be a strength that you will be able to use within your organization as well. You want people to disengage often with their work. You really do.
No, absolutely.
You don't want them to be consumed by it 100% of the time, always, because if somebody is continuously consumed by their work, they become a little disillusioned to it, they become a little less productive in it as well. So you want that disengagement from time to time. I was scrolling on TikTok. Yes, I do that from time to time.
Oh no, we do that as well.
Sometimes at 3 a.m. when I should be sleeping, but that's a story for another day. And I came across a video where, I can't remember who it was, but it was quite a popular person. And no, it's actually a saying by the old guy who Sheldon likes on thingy. Sorry guys, I make reference to things that make sense in my life. But I think it's Albert Einstein. He'll say, I'll look at a problem and not find a solution, but I'll go and take a walk, and within 10 minutes I would have found the solution. So it's exactly like that. You know, sometimes that distance that we create between ourselves and our work enables us to come back and actually give it our all. Yeah.
No, that's really true, because I mean, even if we don't name it,
Yeah.
we have, I sometimes say to Zanele that at 5 o'clock my brain just shuts down. Let me get out of the office, let me drive, because that's my me time.
Yeah.
When I get home, I'm going to open my laptop. I'm not
Yes.
expecting everybody else to do the same, but I just needed that, you know, just disengage from this.
Yeah.
Let me go have my me time, and then you start again, and then you feel like a brand new person.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. There was actually also a video on TikTok.
Now
I promise I'm a serious
now we know what you do during your spare time.
I promise I'm a very serious person, okay? I just learned I like TikTok. There's another video on TikTok where this guy was saying that he worked in an organization where every day the boss would come in at 9 o'clock and at 5 o'clock he would leave. And sometimes you would find the boss in the car taking further meetings in the car. And he was like, why don't you just take them in your office? I'm sure you guys have seen this video. And this guy was like, guys, I want people to be able to feel like they can leave. But when Bas John is still in the office, people are not going to leave, guys. So Bas John must leave. Exactly. So that people can see that it's okay. Yes, you can just go home. And that's what he did. He says he wants to build the kind of organization where people actually can draw a balance between their lives. And he says it doesn't matter that I'm still going to go take meetings. That's my prerogative.
Exactly.
But other people have different demands on their lives, guys. People are single parents. A lot of us are at the age where we're watching our mothers and our fathers age. I mean, the other day my mom was like, how do I log on to my Google? She's asked me this question this year alone 50 times.
Yeah, obviously.
But we're dealing with those kind of nuances, right? Some people are new parents. Some people are are trying to deal with their anxiety, their depression, and their mental health issues in different ways. And we need to be able to give them time to do that. And that's why I think quiet quitting for me is not the monster that everybody thinks it is. It really is just allowing us to live and build better lives in the current circumstances that we find ourselves in. Like, will you sometimes maybe get home and open the laptop? Of course. But are you obliged to? Please, no.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, the world is not burning.
Exactly. I agree.
And you know, employers, remember, you're only paying them
From 8 to 5.
You're only paying them from 8 to 5, and yes, there's the whole, you know, earnings threshold, blah, 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 but hi, guys. Even the top people need a break also.
No, I agree. They definitely do need a break. Mara, we're also saying in quiet quitting, can we also be responsible?
Of course.
We want to touch both sides. We just don't want to say, it's okay, leave at 5, and we don't have another side to it.
Yeah.
Be responsible. You know what your targets are. You've spoken about it. You know what, if you have a project that you need to complete, do what you need to do.
Exactly. And that's why I always say, guys, quiet quitting is not somebody who is not doing their job. It really isn't. It is somebody who's doing their job, but they're also realizing that work is not the end all and be all. Yes, work is a very important aspect of who we are as human beings. It gives us purpose. It allows us to, number one, drive our own career goals. It allows us to be impactful in the organizations that we choose to be in, and, you know, be a decent contributing person of society. But, you know, sometimes I really do want to leave the office on a Friday.
Exactly.
And go, you know, do things that people my age do.
Yeah, but now with you being an entrepreneur, it's so difficult at times where you tell yourself, I'm going to leave at 1. Today, I'm out. 5 o'clock, you still
Oh no, I've been going on about how I want Shiluva to be a 4-day week organization.
Please, before you continue, please ask Zanele what I said before. Do not call me on Mondays, don't call me on Fridays. This
So
has never happened.
As an entrepreneur and as somebody who is building a business, it's going to be very different for you, right? I expect my team to deliver on time. But sometimes, as the person who owns the business, as the owner of Shiluva, I have to grind a little bit harder than the other people,
100%.
guys. I mean, I've been talking about how, I want us to be a 4-day week you know, and then Friday we started this thing where we work until 3 o'clock. Was I not sitting in a meeting yesterday at like 5?
Exactly. That's the name of the game.
I was like, but guys, why are these people on a meeting at 5 o'clock on a Friday? But, you know, I was able to graciously let my team be able to do what they want to do, but I will be the one that's responsible. And sometimes your team is the one that's going to hold the fort. So when you are unable to, your team is going to be there. Because Luana, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you're also going to quiet quit somewhere.
I've done that a couple of times. No, because you're human. You get tired, and like I said, you just need a break.
Yeah.
Take a break, because I mean, we must say it's very difficult, like you said, in the economy, Uncle Cyril.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So sometimes you just need that little break, go refresh, and then the ideas decode afterwards.
Of course,
and
because
plans in terms of what you need to do.
And especially when you are the business owner, the team lead, or the executive within an organization, you need to remember that your core responsibility is to ensure that your team is effective.
Of course.
And to do that, you as a person need to be okay as much as possible, right? We all know how we are when we are stressed out, approaching burnout, or even operating in burnout. It's not a great place to be.
It's
You
never a
can't
good
be
place.
effective that way. And I always say to people, you know, coming back from burnout, guys, is probably a lot harder than losing 30 kilograms. It's hard. Because you are having to reteach your body, your mind, to not operate in high cortisol levels where it's like go, flight or fight kind of situation. It's difficult, and it does not only, and this is what I always say, you know, mental wellness is not only about your mentalness, it's also about your physical body.
Of course, true.
Yeah.
It's also about your physical body. It's about your social wellness, your financial wellness. It encompasses a lot of things, right? So, yeah, quiet quitting is really not too bad, guys. I really think if, well, not in Uncle Cyril's economy, but you know, if we all just quiet quit a little bit, I think we'd probably be a little bit more effective.
So it goes back then to companies just embracing it a little bit more. It's never negative.
And also maybe coming ahead of it. Maybe be the kind of organizing, maybe implement a 4-day work week. A 4-day work week doesn't mean that the whole organization needs to close down. Some people have Monday off, some people have Friday off. And then the organization keeps running for 5 days, but we know that, you know, we're a 4-day week and other people hold the fort when other people are not there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think people look at it as a way to be like, oh, you know, 4-day work week, quiet quitting, it just means that we're losing productivity and money. It doesn't have to be that way. It really does not have to be that way, guys. People need time to be themselves. outside of all the different roles that they play
organizations.
within their lives, guys. We are wearing so many hats: mother, sister, daughter, sister, friend, deacon at church, boss lady, a confidant.
That's a lot.
It's kuningi.
It's a lot. It's really
It
a lot.
really is a lot, and I think that we need to, and I know people throw around this concept out a lot and not truly understand it, but you need to self-care.
That is
You
very
really
important.
need to self-care. It's the only way you're going to be effective. I recently started going to the gym, guys. No, don't clap. Because
I'm clapping because I also just recently
Is it?
started going to gym. Yes,
Is
yes, and religiously so.
So I was just sharing with you guys. I'll just tell you people as well. I'm doing the 75 soft challenge, right? And it requires me, amongst other things, to work out for 45 minutes every day. Guys, this week, did I not hop onto an exercise bike at 9 o'clock? But after jumping off it and just taking that time for myself, the next day felt a lot better.
100%.
So we need to do things that allow us to be better at the different roles that we play.
No,
And I think that's where quiet quitting comes from. Everybody was so worried about it and everybody was talking about it. They're like, yeah, my 2000 are lazy. Yes, they bring a different dynamic into the workplace, guys. But guess what? In the next 10, 15 years, they're going to be our executives. And if we don't embrace some of the things that they bring into the workplace, and not everything that they bring into the workplace is, great. I mean, but every generation has had that, but I think we can learn a few things. And if there's one thing that the panorama taught us, is that life is fleeting. It's extremely fleeting. And again, with me and my social media, oh my gosh, guys, don't judge me. I read a thing on Twitter, I think it was Twitter, where this girl was just saying, this person just died. The family's preparing for the burial, but now we're already putting out a job ad to replace them.
But isn't that what happens in the
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
Because
It's actually the sad truth.
It is
Because
the
production.
truth.
It is.
And as much as people, your employer can care for you, but at the end of the day, every organization is in the business of making money, right? And we're going to have to deal with whatever that actually means. So look after yourself, really meet your goals at your organization, thrive in your organization, even in your quiet quitting, understand how your quiet quitting is going to impact your career, impact your career growth, and make the right decision that is right for you, right? I think, like I said, money is super important, but there's so many things outside of money that employees are looking for from their employer as well. So, and employers Jim the accountant is a human being before he's an accountant. And I feel for me, and this is the kind of clients that I enjoy working with, is the people who genuinely care about the people that work for them, right? And sometimes caring for people is a lot, because human beings are also a lot. But I think, 9 out of 10 times that empathy that we show towards people comes back to us a lot more than just trying to dismiss them as a delinquent who does not want to, who's just here for the paycheck. Are there people who go into organizations for the paycheck? Yes, there are. I mean, that's what work is about. We want to get paid. But there are far more people in the workplace that are trying to build a career and are trying to make a difference as well. So,
all right, that's great. No, I agree with you 100%.
Thanks.
So we also just need to be accountable.
yeah.
As human beings, or as employees rather, we need to be accountable. So within your quiet quitting, just know that it's going to benefit my career in a certain way am I, making justice to a specific company?
No, definitely. I always say, and especially in the space that we work in, because we have people coming to us and writing us emails and be like, oh, you won't believe what they want from me. And for me, it's like, guys, the employee-employer is a relationship. Like any other relationship, it's a give and take. You give them your time, they give you a salary. And depending on how and a lot of employees think that their employer sets the tone, and to a certain degree they do, but you also have a part to play. You need to be responsible in the work that you are doing as an employee as well. And also realize that, again, the organization that you are working for will definitely care for you, will definitely care about your career goals, but the end all and be all at Shiluva is to make money. Again, we want to make money. We want to be impactful with our clients. We want to do great work for our clients. But at the end of the day, all of that is going to result in money, right? And you need to realize that the work that you do within the organization allows the organization to make money, right? And you need to build a relationship with your employer that allows you to be impactful and do the work that they pay you to do, but also, meet your career goals as well, and feed you as a human being as well.
No, great, 100%. So tell us more about Shiluva. What do you do at Shiluva?
This is a funny question because we do the same thing.
We do!
Okay, so we are an HR and labor law consultancy, and we service different types of clients, right? For the small to medium enterprises and even micro enterprises, we are actually an outsourced HR solutionist, right? So we run your HR department for you, and then for your larger corporates, we are your industrial relations partner. Because I think what people don't really understand is that when you work, and this is where I sometimes get annoyed with larger organizations, is that you need a degree of separation, especially when you're dealing with areas of conflict, areas of discipline. And that's where we come in. And sometimes they don't always get that. But that's what we do. We're an HR and labor law consultancy, specializing around industrial relations. Again, mental health in the workplace is a big issue for me. I think we always talk about how we want to create happy and healthy workspaces. So we're very invested in leaving organizations a lot better than we found them. I love working with organizations that care about their people. For me, that's very, very important. I've lost money, gotten cancelled contracts, walked out the door and told people not to phone me again because I felt like I was being used. Because people will always hire HR consultants and ask them like, oh, I want you to deal with it.
Exactly. Don't even touch the topic. It's a topic for another day, because if we unpack that, it is a serious issue.
It is, and for me, that's not what we're about at Shiluva. We really are about creating happy, healthy workplaces. We're about finding impactful solutions for our clients, and that's what we do pretty much outside of watching TikTok during
your breaks. Is there anything that you want to add, Zanele, before we close? Thank you so much, Kulani.
You are not welcome.
You are really appreciated. We really appreciate you coming through. So we've got a little something for you.
Oh, I get a gift?
Yeah, I don't understand what.
Oh, I have to sing first.
Yes.
What are we singing?
Anything.
Your TikTok challenges.
Yeah.
I'm a troll on TikTok. I don't even have an account. Guys, I can't.
Oh, you seriously gonna sing?
I was gonna sing.
Oh no, you.
Okay, let us sing.
Go ahead.
You know, during training,
Yeah.
because we do train skills development as well, I always say to the people, if you guys don't answer my questions or engage, I'm going to sing. Because I have if there's one thing God did not bless me with, is a singing voice. Zero ability to sing. Kumbaya.
Thank you very much. It was nice.
Oh, thank you so much.
Really appreciate appreciate you coming. So that's it from us, Couch Talk with LHS. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.